The lead changed many times, each rider taking turns at breaking the crisp Rocky Mountain air. Halfway up the mountain, though, a new leader emerged. Ruthie Matthes of Sun Valley, Idaho, captured her event in a time of 2 hours, 20 minutes, 9 seconds. She took the lead at the ski area and never looked back. She widened the lead up at the switchbacks.
Great.
Okay, now if you had any strategy whatsoever when you took off for this race, the men had their strategy. What about your strategy? Was it to jump out fast and then try to smooth it out, or what was your strategy?
My strategy was to go out a little bit fast, because on a mountain climb, an inch is a mile. You know, if you can get an initial gap, you can usually get away. And there were 3 of us that broke away probably at about 4 miles. And we worked together for quite a while, probably about 8 miles or so. And then we were on the dirt, and they were starting to get into some of the tighter turns. And I got a gap, and I just went with it.
What would you say the toughest part of the course was as far as you were concerned?
The last mile, the last mile and a half. It was really difficult. You know, the surface was a little bit slippery. It wasn't bad. I didn't have many problems, but just concentrating for that amount of time.
If you had a choice and could do it again tomorrow or next week, would you try it again?
Yeah, I would. I'd change my gears, but I'd do it again.
Okay. Second place in the women's division went to Barb Donovan of Colorado Springs. Her time was 2 hours, 27 minutes, 4 seconds. Barb, first of all, congratulations on a wonderful second place finish. Everybody has to be a winner when they climb this, that's for sure. And how do you feel right now?
I feel okay right now once it's over. It's like the last 2 miles coming up is just so hard. You want to get there, and then you hear people say 2 miles, and you think, oh, this is going to be the longest 2 miles of my life.
Well, being from the Springs, do you think the altitude helped you at all in any way?
Yeah, because I have been here for pretty much the whole summer, so I've been acclimatized the whole summer, and I feel sorry for these people like from Buffalo, New York, or somewhere out of nowhere that just come up here, and they're dying. So yeah, I feel great.
If you had any strategy, what was yours?
Well, we were all 3 together until about 8 miles to go, and then Ruthie took off, and I couldn't stay with her. Actually, I needed some bigger gear.
The other category of racers was made up of the men who did not fall into the criteria set for the first group. That group was paced by Joseph Lemire of Bozeman, Montana.
For you? I felt really fast and pretty light until about 4 miles from the finish when I bogged down.
What, you were talking about the gear? Do you think an extra gear would have helped you?
Yeah, I had a 22, and when I got into the higher altitude, I just couldn't get oxygen to my legs, and I couldn't turn it over, and I needed at least a 25, 24, something like that.
How long you been doing this?
I started racing. I'm a cross-country ski racer, and I coach in Bozeman, Montana, and I started racing bikes now and then, dabbling a few years ago, and then got serious a little bit last year.
Second place finisher in this category was Bill Scott of Teutonia, Idaho. His time was 2 hours, 6 minutes, 15 seconds. Many of the racers reached the top and were on the verge of complete collapse. They were drained both mentally and physically, but a well-prepared crew of professionals was at the finish line to give them a helping hand. In addition, Peak Health had set up emergency aid stations throughout the course. The medical professionals were prepared for a variety of problems, and Clark Curtis has a report on what racing under these conditions can do to any athlete.
A lot more strain.
More strain on the legs?
Really getting dizzy.
Altitude. Breathe.
We're about 12,000. In that vicinity, yeah.
1986 World Cycling Points Race bronze medalist Harvey Nitz of the United States feeling the effects of the altitude.
And when I got into the higher altitude, I just couldn't get oxygen to my legs, and I couldn't turn it over, and I needed at least a 25, 24, something like that.
Winner of the second heat in the men's division, Joe Lemire of Bozeman, Montana. These individuals, like most participating in the ride to the peak, are conditioned athletes. But the drive to continue going, to say, yes, I made it to the top, combined with the lack of oxygen, can take its toll on the best.
The closer you get to the top at the higher altitudes, some of the things that we can be concerned about that are particularly important at this area are a condition called high-altitude pulmonary edema. Actually, from the medical standpoint, we don't feel that we're going to be likely to see much of that. That's a rather serious condition where fluid can accumulate in the lungs and it can be life-threatening. More typically, I think we're going to see people that are just simply short of breath, they're worn out, they have nausea, they have headaches, the kind of things that people encounter when they come from lower altitudes to higher altitudes, except that these are athletes who have obviously expended all of their reserves and fatigued their muscles.
8 first aid and water stations were set up in all along the way, assisting those caught up with the elements. It's obviously a rush for those who attempt the climb, but it's not for the novice.
No, that's right. A person would have to train for this. It's interesting. I did encounter a few people that are in the amateur division from some other states that have come out here just to participate in this, all a part of the celebration of the World Cycling events, and hopefully they're in condition and well prepared. We'll find out.
And having followed many of the riders nearly the entire way, one started feeling the pain and fatigue they were experiencing. However, some couldn't refrain from a little comedic relief.
Hi, Mom. A little drafting, huh?
Yeah. I'll get disqualified for this. I'm going so fast.
I don't want to psych myself out, you know. 11.5, made it this far. All right. Drafting. You're drafting. Nice. Is there any hot chocolate? I wish I did.
Cold Strohs.
Stereo, is it working?
Watch out, Clark.
As with all sporting events, the glory goes to the winners. But in the first ever Pikes Peak Summit Challenge, there were nothing but winners. Only a winner would even consider the challenge. Our team of photographers, Mike Woods, Strat Zervos, Annie Schmidt, Pat Ordonez, and Mike Fodorero captured the true spirit of the event. Here's a look at the race through their eyes.
From LA. Sea level. No good. Oh yeah. I'll make. Just a question of what I'll feel like when I get there. Terrible or worse than good?
This first ever Pikes Peak Summit Challenge was a tremendous success to cyclists and fans. It was the first time cyclists have been allowed to strut their stuff on Pikes Peak. Who knows? Perhaps this has set a trend. Thanks for joining us. Good night.